What's going on, everyone? We're back for another Web3 Rundown show. Can't wait to be here with everyone. Joe, how you doing today?
I don't know, man. I mean, Black Monday, I think that's the sentiment for everyone. I don't know.
Yeah, Black Monday, but well, the past weekend was the wild one, and we're gonna jump right into it. We're gonna talk about good old Liberation Day, what our outlook, well, what happened, what our personal outlooks are. But before we jump into that, let's talk about where we are on the market right now. And Joe, we're taking a little bit of a dump in a lot of these cryptos. This past weekend, I'm sure everybody, unless you're living under a rock, knows that a lot of tariff news has came out, caused a lot of fear, and we're sitting at an extreme fear on the meter right now. Bitcoin might get under $77,000 while we're on the show here. Ethereum, which has seen better days, is under $1,500. We can talk more about that, Joe. I think this is the lowest level since like 2022 or something along those lines. And Solana, right around 105 bucks right now. And over the weekend, Joe, it actually dipped under $100 per Solana. Now, that doesn't look great. The prices right now, you want to turn away, you want to touch some grass. We were talking right before the show, Joe, how we feel like we're talking more about macro, more about tariffs every single week. And I'm like, I don't love it. I don't mind it, but I don't love it. I miss chasing after meme coins, chasing the hot NFT projects. What's Bitcoin? When's it going to get to the next all-time high? But the reality is, for everybody watching our show, the macro news is where we're at right now because it's impacting so many different layers of this market. Joe, what are your thoughts about what's going on overall in the macro? And we're getting a lot of news about these tariffs. What are your personal thoughts?
Personal thoughts are pretty jumbled, to be honest. It's only the second day, so countries are coming out with reciprocal, and then countries are coming out to negotiate. Then China's coming out, full tilt, like just against the USA. And we're so early on, we don't know how this will play out. The sentiment that I'm absorbing from everyone is that everyone does not know the end goal. So with uncertainty, that's kind of where the markets are. I think that we're getting a little bit of bullishness back in the markets because some countries have come to the trade table to negotiate. Was it 50, of them are out there. And then, we're trying to get all of them to hopefully be net zero. That's not going to happen. But it's just I'm not like a trade tariff expert, but just seeing the macro play out and how it affects the markets is concerning, but also, it's piques my interest because I'm like, oh, I didn't learn this. It's good. It's great to get educated on it. But my bags aren't happy in terms of TradFi. In total, my portfolio is down 9 to 10% overall, which is not horrible, I don't think. But I'm not happy about about it. I wanted to see the bags go up. It actually make me think about diversifying, into non-domestic holdings, something that I haven't done in a while. I've been macro bullish on USA, 100% all in USA. And now I'm finally thinking, okay, let me just, what is it? What's that called? Rebalance it a little bit into some international markets.
Yeah, you said some interesting things there, Joe. One, calling out your portfolio being down, and that's not a crazy amount to be down. I'm sure a lot more people are in more pain, and I'm the number one person to think that we are going to bounce back. But even the administration's saying right now that we have to take our medicine right now. We may see some more pain, and that's never very encouraging. But I am really looking more on the long term aspect here. And before last show, I think we talked a little bit about Liberation Day coming up. And Liberation Day, I think it was April the 4th, if I remember correctly. And that was essentially being teased quite a bit. We talked on last week's rundown show, and I was excited for it. I was personally excited. I was like, Liberation Day, we're gonna get things right. We're gonna come to the trade table. We're gonna talk tariffs. We're gonna get everybody on the same page. The administration's calling it Liberation Day. Let's liberate these stock prices, these crypto prices up higher. And honestly, it was a complete disappointment in my eyes. Trump came out with that big board strategy in hand. I really felt like it could have been executed a lot better. I was much more confident that it felt like the administration was going to be more competent around these around this tariff release. But that big board, remember whenever, wasn't it the Penguin Island? Like those penguins were being tariffed 20,
Yeah.
30%. The stock market fired down. It was really the complete opposite of what I think a lot of hopeful people were hoping for. And there's some concerning things about this, especially with Japan and China being such big holders of U.S. debt. If they start unloading because they're not happy with the tariffs, it could cause a lot of issues, and that's the root cause of why we're down right now. Nothing fundamentally wrong with a lot of stocks, nothing fundamentally wrong with Bitcoin, but there's market uncertainty higher than it's ever been. Personally, I don't think it's as bad as the FTX days. I don't think it's as bad as the COVID days. I don't think it's as bad as the past recessions. I am a little scared that we could slip into a recession. If we slip into a real recession, we've heard it's difficult to get out of that. But I also see a path where we come back, and we can come back pretty quickly. I want to share my screen here, Joe, before I kick it over to you a little bit more about these tariffs. We waxed China, I think, with like a 36% tariff, something along those lines. I can't even remember. And Trump is now threatening an additional 50% tariffs on China. China is they're playing a game of chicken. They're calling the bluff, and they might 34%. They might be calling it the right way as well, because I don't think they know this is not sustainable for the United States to just be tariffing all these countries across the world as heavily as they are and using that as a flow of income. So maybe they're calling this bluff, but definitely feels like a game of chicken happening. And they definitely said they're not going to be intimidated by Trump's tariff blackmail. You could call it something along those ways, but some positives out there. Scott Bassett, who I think is a brilliant individual, has said that there's been a couple big deals that have come together quite quickly from some of these countries. What are your thoughts again about these tariffs, about China, where we're sitting right now?
Yeah, I'm just like everyone else. I wasn't a trade tariff expert. I don't think anyone is. I try my best to consume like smart information. I just before we jumped on here, I listened on the All In podcast, which had on Ben Shapiro. I put on 2x speed, and when you put on Ben Shapiro on 2x speed, it's like listening on 10x speed. Let me tell you that. And these trade tariffs are, nothing new. It's something that's happened for a long time in America, but all in different times of America. One thing that personally actionable item that I'm going to do out of this is just basically buy more Bitcoin because whether it be inflation, stagflation, recession, I think, like when I said I was going to rebalance into international, definitely I'm going to do that with my TradFi. But in terms of crypto, Bitcoin is personally my hedge against all of that inflation, stagflation, whatever it might be. Is never a bad time. So I find it amazing, an amazing opportunity right now to buy Bitcoin because even with all these scares, is not decoupled. Gold is all time high. Bitcoin is not all time high. In my opinion, digital gold is way better than the actual gold, but no one seems to see it like that. Maybe because the old guard has built all the infrastructure around existing gold. But eventually one day people will see that hey, I don't need to go to a gold shop and turn in my Costco gold and get waxed 3%. I can go trade it with Brian over in China or Hong Kong, whatever, or in Africa, wherever it is. And that's what Saylor, is really big on. So we're seeing a lot of big institutions about Bitcoin. We talked about that last week. So I'm definitely probably going to move heavier back into Bitcoin, but not at what is it? On a one-time basis. I'm a dollar cost average this whole year out.
Yeah, Joe, that's very smart. I'm in the same boat as well. As the price of Bitcoin continues to decrease, and there's nothing fundamentally wrong with it. I look at it in the same way. Even this past weekend, we talked about gold hitting all-time highs. They even took a pretty big step back. So it was really everything within the traditional finance world, the crypto world, took a big step back because of all this market uncertainty. Joe, I'm not sure if you saw this or not. Maybe you saw it when I shared the sheet, but Tyler put a great little post up yesterday about this, about how the White House has come out and said that they no longer want the US dollar to be the reserve currency. And they list a few reasons why that could be the case, and maybe that makes sense. So, what's going to be the reserve currency if the US dollar is not going to be the reserve currency? What are you thinking? Could it be good old Big Daddy Bitcoin?
That and or stable coins, which they had a
Yeah.
large conversation about of how the world can consume, the USD stable coin a lot quicker, a lot easier than the dollar and or gold. So that could be it. No clue, man. But I've been down a stablecoin rabbit hole, and I'm actually going to talk a little bit about some different stablecoins as we move along the show.
Yeah, I guess just wrapping all of this macro talk up and with Bitcoin and where it lies right now, it does feel as the price continues to decrease, it feels like a great time to dollar cost average in. And everybody has a different financial situation. So if you need money and you're strapped, you probably shouldn't be buying into any more assets. You take care of your lifestyle, you take care of your family, you take care of your life. But if you have disposable income or if you have any money to invest or a job or anything along those lines, it does feel like one of the best times to buy into Bitcoins in some of these macros. One that does not feel good though, Joe, is Ethereum. And you've talked a lot of crap on Ethereum on this show. And I've kind of been in the background, like kind of pushing you, like, hey, say some more dirty stuff about Ethereum. But I also secretly like love Ethereum. But it's hit its lowest since December 2022. And its chart, the ETH Bitcoin chart is just down only. I think it's like 54, 55 Ethereum to one Bitcoin right now. And it was almost half of that earlier this year.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen to bring attention back to Ethereum. I know they delayed their upgrade, their Pectra upgrade, for the entire network. I think people are just bouncing around trying to get bank account bonuses. Like DeFi ran supreme on Ethereum, but now that you can easily bridge in and out of so many different types of blockchains, and you're going to talk about that, Brian, with prompt. You did that just typing it in, right?
hmm
I can't see any blockchain, to be honest, just holding is high TVL or DeFi, staking for long because people can just move it around so quickly. It's just going to be commoditized because there's so many, copy paste blockchains out there and just, better, and they'll give you a better yield for a day or two. People like to call that mercenary money, bring it to, and I'm doing that. I am guilty of that. And Ethereum, notably, has been down, not down or stable for the last 5 years. So I don't see anything that's going to change that change that fact. But I still hold Ethereum. I used Ethereum just today to buy some more meme coins.
Yeah, I still hold a fair share of Ethereum. I still hold NFTs that are on Ethereum, so it's US dollar. Even though the Ethereum price isn't going down, it's US dollars going down. But still see a path for it to being successful. I think one of the best paths there are financial advisors who I'm not sure how savvy they are in the crypto world, are giving their clients, hey, you should. If you're interested in crypto, you should get a portion of Bitcoin. You should get some Ethereum. So we still see that institution or traditional interest in the Ethereum more than a lot of these other opportunities. One coin, which I mean, we've talked crap on this coin as well, and I think a lot of people that are native to Web3 have, and that's XRP and Ripple. And I don't want the Ripple army coming after me. And really, I have some really good friends that are investors in Ripple, and I've asked them to kind of explain to me exactly what Ripple is doing. I understand the concept of what they want to do globally with payments, but they never really can get really past that other than they feel very smart because the price has gone up. But they made a huge acquisition today. Crypto bought a prime broker Hidden Road for $1.25 billion. Dollars. And it's really a distribution play for their RLUSD stablecoin. We were talking a little bit about stablecoins, and stablecoin distribution is going to be key in the future. And this hidden road, it currently clears more than 3 trillion annually across markets with 300 institutional customers including large hedge funds. It almost felt like Ripple has been faking it to make it for so many years, just talking about vapor or things that they're going to do. But this acquisition really is huge. I see a path here where it could be a distribution for their stable coin. And maybe XRP comes to fruition here. Do you have any thoughts here? Do you hold any Ripple?
No, I might have held Ripple in like 2017, but I think recently, not think there's facts out there about the Ripple blockchain not being the fastest. It just has a strong community, probably really a community that has put a lot of money investments into there, and just which is just like meme coins. Whichever meme coin has the strongest communities is the ones that's going to rip. And this one has inroads with a lot of high people in high ranking offices. But as a blockchain overall, it's really slow, is what we know. And I could pull up data for that. It had up prepared. But yeah, I mean, I don't see them going away, obviously. They're definitely making moves, which is more than I can say for Ethereum. So yeah, I might be more bullish on Ripple and Ethereum, bro.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big acquisition, and this almost feels like the year of acquisitions where a lot of these TradFi and Web3 companies are merging. We're seeing this with a lot of payment sectors. We're seeing this with Ripple and what was this even called? Hidden Road. We're seeing a lot more integration there. So I'm more bullish on Ripple and XRP today than I probably ever have been because of this acquisition. So we'll see how it all shakes out. By no means is that financial advice to buy XRP. I own zero. But for anybody that's held on to it for a long time, very interesting stuff there. Joe, the last question I have for you, and I have my own thoughts as well. There's a lot of BS going on with these tariffs. We got conflicts all over the place. We have a new administration that we're 1 minute completely bullish, and he's the savior of crypto. And even I think I skipped over it, but he even told prosecutors to ease up on crypto enforcement policy earlier today. So that's a big move. They're obviously embracing crypto, but all of these markets are down. How do we get back to those all-time highs? Do you think it's going to be a struggle uphill, or do you think it could happen very quickly?
Definitely a struggle uphill for overall markets, macro wise, TradFi, and then unfortunately, crypto is pegged to TradFi. But it is the best opportunity as an investor. I would like to think that I'm a non-savvy investor, but I've done really well, knock on wood, the last few years. Working my strategic plan. So if you have a plan, it is an amazing time for investors. The groups that I'm in, they all say the same thing. They're like, "This is the best time ever." I'm sure you've heard the same. This is the best time ever, best time ever. And then people listening be like, "Well, how is this the best time ever?" And that's only if you have a long-term horizon investment thesis and capital to deploy. Now, if you don't have capital to deploy, then you definitely need to strategize, because if you're here and you don't have a strategy and you don't have money to deploy, then that's a big red flag. Like, hey, my strategy is not working because these times are expected. They say that 2008, this reflects 2008 the most, where the most markets losses, compared, we given back everything. Every growth that we've had for last year is gone. Maybe even multiple years for people who did not invest in the total stock market. If you invest into individual stocks, some people got crushed, right? That's why my portfolio is only down 10%. But however, if you have a long-term horizon, if you know how to dollar cost average, and I'm not talking about a week or two, Brian. So if you're asking me my outlook, like how do we reach all-time highs? So from 2008 recession, it took about 5 years. So 2008, 2013. What is it called? The Great Depression? I forgot the word for that specific bubble, the mortgage crisis, whatever it was. It took 5 years to get back to the previous high. That's a long time, right? 5 years. Brian, you might have another kid by then. You'll be on kid number 5. You have a basketball team, right? But for people who dollar cost average, guess how long it took for them to get back to the previous balance that they were before they got crushed? How many years do you think?
I have no idea. Just deliver it to me.
It's not that much crazier, right? It wasn't 1 year, 3 years. So it took 3 years if you were a savvy investor. I wouldn't even say savvy. You're just like me, like a dumb person that just reinvests back, right? It took 3 years from 2008 to 2011 to get back to what an average person or the average market took 5 years to get back to. So if you are prudent, you are disciplined, because from 2008 to 2009, had you invested from 2008 to 2009 as a dollar cost average savvy investor, that dropped another 50%. So you're like, oh my God, am I doing this correctly? I dollar cost average for a year and I still got crushed. But you have to play the strategy long term. And those people got rewarded with a 3 year come up versus a 5 year, right? And then they're well ahead of the people that got back in, later in the time. So you can never time the market, right? It's better to just dollar cost average and buy the total market in terms of traditional finance. So I know that's a long answer to the question about how. So that's how I'm seeing it. It's like, are we going to reach all time highs in a year? I don't know about that, right? TradFi, definitely, I don't see that immediately unless something really amazing happens. Like people are like, if Trump pivots, then yeah, for sure. Trump pivots or something happens really, something comes out of this, but it was never explained by Trump or his administration, then yeah, we can move in the right direction. So regardless, just having a thesis in TradFi and also in crypto. So that's something that it's not relatively new for me, but it's really paid off. So I was tracking my personal finances, and because of the same strategy deployed for TradFi and crypto for myself, last 2 years was like my biggest gains, bro. My biggest, because we've been through this. Like crypto was down not too long ago, right? Like it wasn't too long ago. Bitcoin was at 50,000. It was like what, a year ago. So we've been in the dumps for a while. Like 2022 to 2024, we've been in the dumps. So it's nothing new, right? But I've been dollar cost. I'm sure you've done the same, and I'm like, dang, my portfolio grew like crazy, and that's because we have a crypto strategy. It's nothing crazy, but definitely you need to know what to buy in crypto. So I encourage people to stick with us here as we work through this as we grow.
Yeah,
I
it's
said
great
a lot.
advice. No, that was great advice, Joe. That was great advice. We're always curious of what your plan is there. And I guess overall, one of the biggest takeaways is always have dry powder available so you can buy these dips or slowly dollar cost average in. Again, if your lifestyle or you're fully invested or fully ported into the world, you're going to experience a little bit of pain, but I do believe that we will bounce back. I actually have a little bit more hopium on the bounce back than what you were saying. And I think that if there's any sort of escalation at all, and that's with possible China and Taiwan like issues, that's China and the US tariffs, if that's Ukraine and Russia, all of these things, any just de-escalation overall, and people just calm down. I think we could actually run up in the crypto world. I think we could run up pretty hard because we're that the Bitcoin strategic reserve, all these bullish things that we talk about all the time that got Bitcoin all the way up to $100,000. That's all still happening. That's all still being built, but it's kind of baked out of the price. It was baked in early. Now it's baked out, and we're all kind of like freaking out. We're just kind of front running each other to the next irrational decision. But whenever I do see opportunities like this where we have these big pullbacks, I do try to personally dollar cost average in. I use some of my dry powder. This past weekend was actually one of my better trading days because I hit some like soup. I put some stink bids in and I hit some big stink bids on some of the macros. And they look pretty good right now, to be completely honest. So I do think we could fire back hard if we get de-escalation in tariffs, in the wars, in the conflicts. I think Trump's even on record. I heard this somewhere that he wants to be a peacemaker in this administration. He can be a very polarizing and somewhat like China's saying, a bully of an individual trying to get his way, the art of the deal everyone calls out. But I do think he wants to resolve a lot of these things. He wants the financial markets to thrive. He wants to bring peace to a lot of these countries and a lot of these deals. So, because his ego's so big, people will absolutely love him. I would imagine people that voted for Trump and were very heavy on Trump don't like the markets being down right now. If you're a business right now, uh, you're kind of stuck in mud. You're like, am I getting hit by these tariffs? Are you a major business that has factories in Taiwan or Japan or China? You're kind of like, well, we built all this infrastructure. Are we going to pack up? Or Vietnam, are we going to pack up and go back to the United States? What's going on with this tariff? So we're kind of just stuck in the mud. When we're like this, where I like to go is I like to buy conviction plays. I think Bitcoin looks ripe. Even if we go down, I would feel worse miss if we go down 20% more in Bitcoin, I'll be fine with it. I'll feel worse when bullish news comes on and we just start catching those green candles. So personally, I'm still dollar cost averaging in. I'm going all in on my conviction plays, and I feel completely comfortable with it.
Yeah, no, you have a right perspective actually. I was in the mind frame of, well, I don't know why I was there, but like if we were already in a recession, then that's the
Oh
outlook,
yeah, for
because everyone's
sure.
calling for 45%, 60%, and that's kind of why I said what I said. But job unemployment is at an all-time low in America.
I didn't even know
Scott,
that.
yeah, all-time low. So everything's great. Scott Bessent replied about the market fluctuation. He goes, yeah, market fluctuates 15, 20% all the time. It's a normal market fluctuation. So we're by no means in a recession or a downward spiral yet. Rate cuts come up at 5 times this year. That would skyrocket. It's like another injection of liquidity. And might not be great, but inflation would be higher. But whatever, whatever gets the market, that could move the crypto market. So yeah, I was more talking about, if we were headed into a downward spiral, then that's the other side of the coin. But I'm glad we had both sides of the coin there. Yeah, we could definitely rock it.
Yeah, totally. We can move on. We could talk macro all day, every day. But, I think there's a lot of countries out there that could lose if they continue to play this game of chicken, the United States included. So we're just going to see how it all shakes out. Personally, I'm comfy with my bags. I know that much.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so let me try to share. I'm sorry, I'm on a new screen here.
Looks like you have a new headphones too. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and it might. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I got you.
Cool.
Well,
Yeah.
everyone's got you.
Yeah, this is boring for a lot of people, but stablecoins is the basically the headlining news. Tether right now might have to issue new stablecoin because SEC guidelines are coming out. They're not pushed yet, so it's not law yet. But basically, what this article says is that stablecoins need to be backed by cash or U.S. Treasuries and or other investments, and you cannot hold crypto. So basically, Tether holds Bitcoin and other crypto as their collateral, which I never knew, which is not the greatest, So if they want to play into the United States stablecoin, then they have to issue new stablecoins backed by actual assets. So Circo's leading the race here. Circo's about to, well, they actually stopped their public, they were going to go IPO. Wonder how to get on that. But stablecoins, they're looking to, before they were like, oh, you can't provide yield, but they're looking potentially to change that to provide yield and other mechanisms so that they can have more people buying US stablecoin. That's another way to kind of shore up the US dollar some people are talking about. The reason I bring that up is because we're seeing a lot of stablecoin products fly out in the world of crypto. May or may not be a good thing. Here's one that we share to our private. Well, we haven't shared it to a private community yet. Oops. But Resolve Labs is a potential farming opportunity. This is on base. You're gonna like this one, Brian. An Aerodrome. You love Aerodrome.
I
This
do.
is why Ethereum is not doing well, is because Base is stealing mindshare. Base has paid $1 million to Ethereum in the last 3 months, which is not great, because Ethereum is the second largest crypto of all time. Anyways, I could go deeper into this, but basically we can show you how to climb up the leaderboards of the Resolve platform, which is basically showing you how to use DeFi. Now, I'm just showing you where the money's going right now. So to give you an idea, I have friends that are doing like $250,000 in the stablecoin farm yields, and that's nothing. They're like, oh, we're like sub 1,000 rank, not sub 1,000, plus 1,000 ranking. The people who are like sub 1,000 ranking in some of these platforms, they have millions of stablecoins farming and yielding, these airdrops. So that's kind of what's happening. I do want to give a warning. So Justin Sun, this is like the kettle. What's that saying go? The kettle black saying.
Oh, it's like the kettle calls or kettle calls the kettle black or
Basically, Justin Sun is
yeah.
not the most reputable person in this industry, but he is saying that there's scandal with this First Digital Trust, which is a stablecoin issuer, that they stole or misappropriated $490 million worth of funds, $456 million worth of funds. And basically, he's saying FTX is a saint compared to this company because at least FTX claimed that there were loans, right? It's hilarious just reading this. But he's putting his money where his mouth is. He's putting $50 million bounty. Okay. So for those of you who don't know Justin Sun, Justin Sun is the founder of Tron. He's also the person that ate the banana, the $5 million banana from Miami Art Basel, which is hilarious. And something else to watch out for also is here we go. So some of these stablecoins are not safe, right? Remember the Terra Luna crash? It was a dynamic
Oh,
stablecoin
I do.
backed by the crypto itself. It was like a floating dynamic crypto coin. And that's kind of what these are like, is a trustless stablecoin, different frameworks, true delta neutral architect. Basically, when you're farming these stable coins, there is risk involved. That's what I'm telling everyone. There's smart contract risk, there's developer risk, there's security risk off of managing your own hard wallet. So is it worth the reward, right? Are you just better off earning 5% off of a FDIC insured bank, right? Or chasing a 24% yield off a stable, right? Everything sounds nice. You got to take these factors into consideration. But I am diving deeper into this because this is something I'm very interested in, and I am earning some good yield. So if you guys want to learn more about that, feel free to ask me about that. And yeah, so DeFi is definitely where a lot of big players are going right now. So I just want to give a shout out to that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great shout out, Joe, because you're like the DeFi king, I feel like, and this is the perfect time. We say this all the time to our private community. It's the perfect time to explore protocols and new platforms where you can earn high yield. There's no hot runner meme coins out there. There's no hot NFT projects or AI crypto. We're all just chopping, but DeFi seems like a place that is popping up on everybody's radar.
Yeah, that's kind of the safer play, I would say. And we've all wanted this, right? We all wanted technology to advance so that we can utilize DeFi in some different aspects. And but memes stole the spotlight. So that's why the Solana DEX volumes collapse, as stable coins grow and tokenized assets project to hit 18 trillion, which is pretty crazy.
I
So
know.
tokenized assets, RWAs, we talk about that like real estate, it could be, liquor, fine watches, jewelry, and we've always wanted this, meaning that if you have a closet full of assets, but you can't really leverage it and utilize it. That's what you can do in the world of tokenized assets, right? You can lend your Bitcoin, should you choose, get stablecoin, invest into real estate. There's all tons of possibility. These are real value things that you can do, to really put yourself at a better position in this current economy. So if you want to learn that, it just makes it easier to diversify, believe it or not. But we're not there yet in terms of crypto integrating with everything. Once we're there, we can do some really meaningful stuff. Like meme coins are great. Sure, I don't mind. I don't mind getting rich overnight, right? But if you can get rich slowly and surely and a higher percentage of winning, I mean, who wouldn't want that?
Yeah, and it also makes investing in those higher volatility plays like a fart coin or a meme coin or jumping into there a lot more manageable when you know you're earning, nice yield on your stable coins. You have some other avenues, and that's why we always talk about how we don't want to just put our eggs in one basket. Is it apples in one basket? I'm getting mixed up with the analogies today, but that's why it's so important to diversify. And it might not be the traditional diversification we talk about, diversifying the crypto world. So I love when you talk about the DeFi world. I do want to make one more call out. With that Circle IPO, man, when I heard about that last week, it was like 5 or 6 days ago. I was like, I thought the same thing. I go, how do we get in on this? And it does seem like they pulled back there. And something it was revealed that Coinbase receives 50% of the residual payment base.
Whew.
So maybe there's something going on there with that portion of revenue, why they don't want to release their IPO. But that seemed awesome. I mean, I was super interested when I heard Circle was filing an IPO. I was like, "Give me!" I would be very interested in getting in on that.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm playing in the stablecoin world, and I'm trying to pull you into the stablecoin world. As tokenization comes on, I mean, check out. You're a sneaker guy. I unfortunately became a sneaker guy. Like that's what we're talking about, right? You can leverage your Bitcoin, but what if you could leverage your sneaker connection, a collection through crypto to take a crypto back loan against your Air Force Ones? That's not going down in value anytime soon, I don't think. Typically, luxury goods outpace or is a hedge against inflation. That's what the ultra rich do. That's why they buy paintings. That's why they buy watches. And then with like the tariffs, your watches might be worth way more now. So go buy Rolex. But if you can leverage that, right, and then you can utilize that crypto into a meaningful way to grow your wealth. I believe that's the power play. I would say we're kind of there already, and that's what I believe the next smart move will be. Is to how do we move a lot of money in that aspect. But stable coins is where big money moves, like forex players. That's why the stable coins is the focus right now. But there is some meme coin news for those of you who want some meme coin news. Okay, and that is this. That is Trump actually has $300 million of on-chain volume. I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing, but they have a first major unlock coming on April 18th, I believe. So be careful of any move there. It did move up, is what I'm saying. But with unlock coming, are those people going to sell immediately? That's going to be the question. And I'm interested to see, are you selling it or holding your Trump bags up until the unlock, Brian?
Uh, no. Sorry. Yes, I will. I've pivoted a lot of my Trump into Farcoin. When Farcoin was down like in the 350 range, I was
Smart.
buying in. Yeah, well, I think we talked about it on our show last week. I was like, Farcoin's the leading indicator of all financial markets moving forward. So I have pivoted some of that Trump coin into there, but I still hold it. I'll probably just hold the bag I have. It's not a tremendous amount. I'll probably just hold the bag I have to just who the heck knows what this guy's going to do at the White House? I mean that he wants to get rid of the U.S. dollar. Maybe he makes Trump coin. I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if that hit a headline. So I'm kind of holding my bag with that now. But I did pivot a lot of my meme coin profits or meme coins into some of my favorite AI crypto coins and some of my favorite meme coins. And Farcoin falls under Farcoins, Pepe's. They fall under that umbrella.
Okay, I must have missed that. And we're going back to the days where you tell me something and I miss out on two, three X's all the time because you are known for hitting those two, three X's all the time. So I will look into converting my Trump into Farcoin. I already missed out on a move because Farcoin has not gone down against the macro news. Farcoin doesn't care. They've grown 180% since they ticked the bottom, which was only like a month ago. So Farcoin is the top mover, and everyone could rally into that for the next year. Who knows? So it could be relatively low compared to his all-time high. What's interesting here is that meme coin DJs are not concerned, and I can't believe I never saw this, but okay, it's funny. Titcoin.
Oh yeah.
How come no one thought about this before? This absolutely looks like a tit. We might get blacklisted here on YouTube, but this is the
No.
first one. Is this the first? I mean, the world of meme coins that blasted off 2,000 a day for the last year. This is the first time I've seen this, which is hilarious because it's so easy. It's such a easy meme to create out of it. I can see why it popped.
I was in and out of Bitcoin for a while there,
Oh my god.
a few weeks ago. I didn't do much, but there are still some action. I mean, Farcoin hit $610 million market cap today. So, I mean, that's a far cry from when it was trading in the billions, but I do think once the market really picks up, Farcoin's going to continue to run and run really hard. It does nothing, everyone. I mean, and I think that's the reason why people like it. One thing that if you track the holders go up like 1 to 2,000 new holders, I think every single week I was looking at, but they have over 140,000 holders. Holders are growing steadily. I think people get kind of fed up. I said this on a group work call yesterday. People are just fed up with the markets, with the red. They're buying utility products. They're buying this, they're buying that, and everything's just going down. They're just like, you know what? I'm going to buy Fartcoin because it's such a interesting meme and interesting community. And I really believe that's why it's been up. I'm not buying a Farcoin here at the present moment. 563 million for $564 million market cap. I do think it could go down with any sort of news. But I think it could also get to all-time highs again once we see a rip up north. But if we dip under 500 million, this isn't financial advice for anybody out there. I'll probably be looking to buy a little bit more Farcoin. And there's even some other meme coins out there. Have you seen the house coin? I've been following it for
Yeah.
about a week. Yeah, and it's just so simple, but it's like people are getting so fed up with rates and everything. They're like one house equals one house coin. We're gonna buy and meme coins are still alive, not like what they were there for a little while, but it does show that there's still some action in those streets. And once we pump some life back into those macro markets and people are feeling rich again, I absolutely know some of these mainstay meme coins are going to go hard.
Yeah, definitely the play is more majors right now because the upside value of them, is I wouldn't say safe, right? 50% or 100% down are some of these majors, right? Like Ethereum or Solana. Bitcoin's not 100% down yet, but it's safer returns. But like you said, like we always say, the volatility is where you could hate to say this, but you can get rich, right?
Yeah.
So definitely have a portion of your budget, ready for that because at these levels where people are the most scared to buy some meme coins is probably the best time to buy some of these meme coins because that's when it can absolutely rip. Talk to me about Wayfinder and Prompt because you told me not to make sure I get up to level 10 there. When is that? How much time do I got? The week's already
A
almost
level.
halfway there.
Oh, level 10. I know. Yeah, we gave this shout out to our private community. Anybody that's following, here's a little bit of alpha for you, and you probably see it on your timeline. You can do some social missions and some wallet missions. They're gonna give, I think, 2% of the prompt token allocation, at least 1% to the wallet, 1% to socials. But you deposit essentially $10 in Solana, $10 in Ethereum, $10 on a base token. You complete a few tasks and you're eligible for that airdrop. It's literally free money. The call out I gave to you yesterday, I said, is if you just put $10 or $12 in last week with this correction in prices, you could have fallen out of the threshold. So definitely make sure you top yourself off or just put it in a stable coin. Wayfinder, this Prime Prompt TGE, is part of this entire AI crypto movement. I am on record, and I really do believe because everywhere you go, you hear about AI, you hear about a lot of the integrations. I'm so bullish on the moves that we're going to make in the future. It's a tough market right now, so I understand why it's down, but I think a lot of these top AI coins could do very well. One of my favorites is Wayfinder. They have a prompt token that is not out yet for anyone. You have to stake a token called Prime on the Wayfinder website to earn prompt. And there's a whole bunch of different steps. We've gone through it with our private community. Man, I've done it 3 or 4 times because I'm so bullish on it. But I have been using the AI agents connected to Wayfinder. Midas is their financial tracker agent. Absolutely love it. I was showing it to you today, Joe. Just making it do like simple tasks for me. It's nothing that really is cumbersome for me and you because we've been in crypto for so long. To bridge money from Solana to Ethereum base isn't that difficult for you or I, and a lot of people in the space. But it can be difficult, and it's kind of a pain in the butt too. So today with Wayfinder, and this is all beta, it's not even released to the public yet. I specifically asked, I go, hey Wayfinder, take one Sol and convert it over to Ethereum base. It told me what it wanted to do, asked me to confirm. I put Y for yes. Boom, transaction happened. And even in that same natural language prompt, I asked it to send it to an to a outsourced Ethereum wallet, and it confirmed it. It sent it. Everything went so smooth. So at the end of the day, these AI agents. I mean, we're only a couple. They've been building their product for a while, but we're really only a few months into just all this hype. It was so nice to just kind of like talk with this AI agent, have it do this task for me. I signed one transaction. I was on my way. They have another AI agent. I believe it's called Vulcan. That's their coding agent. Very interesting if you're interested in building and coding. And they have another agent getting released as well. But really, the long story short for everyone here is this TGE event, their token drop event is happening within the week. And it's going to be pretty impactful, I think, for not only for people who are anxiously awaiting this token drop, but I think for the AI crypto space overall. Of course, I wish it was in better market conditions. But Joe, kind of part of me was like thinking about it as well. We might have gotten this huge initial surge in the perfect market conditions, but there's another side of things here is that there's a lot of loyal followers to Wayfinder and what they're building, and all eyes are going to probably be on this launch. There's just not a ton of stuff happening in the space right now. So it could drive some very organic, sincere interest over to Wayfinder and this release of the prompt token. I'm a big fan of it. I've been dollar cost averaging into Prime and staking for Prompt for a very long time now. And it's just a big piece of news. We're going to probably talk about it next week if it happens within that week. If not, it could be a week or two down the line, but it's happening soon.
Nice. I'm excited to use some of the features. I think you are priority access, and I'm still trying to get access. And yeah, I'm excited for what AI means overall for crypto. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And I'm excited for it. All the stuff that we were talking about earlier, stablecoin, all the stuff that's confusing to people pretty soon. You can just, like Brian said, just you don't need to type it in. Just tell it, hey, I want to convert stablecoin or find me the 10 best stablecoin yields or crypto yields or DeFi mechanisms I can utilize. And it'll do it for you, you know. So that time is coming really, really soon, and we will be ahead of the game. Here's something that's you always kind of bring up to me, like when am I gonna buy a Pudgy Penguin or like where how are NFTs? And last week I
Oh,
said 12,000.
dang.
Last time I said 12,000. It's at 13,000 now, but I do have to probably change my tune because, you know, crypto has moved significantly downward also. Because where's the outside gain for, what is it, Pudgy Penguins compared to a Bitcoin? Probably would buy a bit more Bitcoin versus a Pudgy Penguins in my personal opinion because Pudgies will move up eventually, but Bitcoin will probably move a little bit quicker. But I could be absolutely wrong because when and if a Pengu slash Pudgy Penguin NFT ETF gets approved, that could skyrocket this thing immediately. So, but I am eyeballing it every single day. You never know. One day I might just come up and just run down and say, guys, I did it. I pulled the trigger.
No, you have to
NFTs
do it. You
overall.
have to do it live on the show. I don't know if you remember that. You have to do it live on the show for everyone.
Huh. Yeah, I might have to do that. Yeah. And then but you gotta do something too then.
I'll buy a CryptoPunk. If the
Oh,
prices
okay.
keep going, if the price,
What?
yeah, I'm actually
Where
looking at
is it?
punks. I'm looking at punks right now. There's it's some good. Yeah, they're at 42 Ethereum. I don't know what that is in
Oh,
USD,
that's
but
a lot cheaper, right? I think than back
60,
then.
$70,000
Oh
or
yeah,
something. I
that
mean,
dropped.
it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, but man, I'm bullish on crypto punks, and I've had a few slip through my hands quite a few times. 62,000. It's actually, I mean, it's a brand new car, or so many things. I got a family. They've killed
Nah,
me,
nah,
but
nah. The car's gonna be way more
I
expensive after these tariffs.
well, you're right. You're right. You're right, man. You're. I've had CryptoPunks. I've been involved with them for a long time and had a few slip through my hands. Haven't didn't hodl as much as I should. So I've always wanted to get one back and just hold on to it. So it's definitely in my vision right now. I don't know. Ethereum is like I'm literally getting alerts next to me from Coinbase and Gemini that Ethereum's hit these thresholds that I don't even remember ever putting those in. So they could have been from like price alerts from 2022. So we'll see how that goes. Back to the Pudgy Penguin though, Joe. Isn't there a correlation with abstract drop with these Pudgy Penguins, or is that just us assuming? I can't remember if that was ever confirmed or not.
It's already confirmed. Yeah, 2-1. Pudgies will eat. That's what Lucas said. And also,
Jeez.
you get the multiplier on the daily points. So already
Oh,
there's already impact on the daily farming of it. But it all depends on what happens, right? If it launches to negative fanfare because of the macros, then it might not do so well. But
dude.
it's just kind of justifiable at this price, right?
Dude,
Because
I mean,
you could get half off.
how much you gonna get in an abstract airdrop? I mean, I would imagine they're gonna reward. It's literally the blockchain built by the Pudgy Penguins team, correct?
And
It's
yeah,
they have a
he says,
Pengu token for goodness sakes.
yeah, they have that. They have a lot of people in the industry that really like them, like Van Eck. And now, there's ever Canary Capitals that's doing it. So they definitely have a lot of clout in the space. And if it's 2-1, something that you can trust, I mean, yeah, it's definitely looks like a what is it? So if you imagine getting a Pengu, I'm sorry, a Pudgy Penguin before the Pengu drop, those people got it for free, and some people even made money because it covered the entire cost of the Pudgy. Had you sold the token right away, right? So this could be the same thing. You could get a free Pudgy Penguin, but even if you get 50% off, might be worth it.
I mean, even if you, yeah, I mean, you're in it for like 5 grand. I mean, they're gonna continue shipping products, and I mean, they just like re-up their deal with like Walmart and Target. I believe in their IP. I'm selling myself on a Pudgy Penguin buy like right now with you. I'm looking at them. They look pretty good. I didn't realize. I don't know why I didn't put two and two together with the ETH price so depressed, and these are trading. I mean, one just sold for 8.91 Ethereum. There's definitely a range here with like one or two negative news headlines like China's upset with Taiwan or something and we get escalated, everything's gonna go down a little bit more. Uh I might be scooping up a Pudgy with you. So this is
Yeah,
exciting for the NFT world because I still love me some NFTs, man. I really do.
your kids
And
would be ecstatic. Your kids would be like,
oh,
"This is the best NFT you've ever bought, Dad."
dude, I think I've told you the story. When I worked with DraftKings, we talked with the Pudgy Penguins team extensively, and they were great guys. And I think some of the people I used to work with are gone now. But I showed it to my wife and I showed it to my kids. But my wife looked at Pudgy Penguins. This is when they were like less than an ETH. And I was like, I'm thinking about buying one of these. Now, at the time, I think ETH was like 4 grand. So it's kind of funny how that comes full circle. But she goes, honestly, Brian, this is one of the first NFTs, if only NFTs, that like I actually am like, that's great. And I was like, so you're telling me that we should buy one? And she told me she thought we owned a whole bunch. A few months ago, I told her like Pudgy Penguins are like 40 or 30 ETH. I should have bought it. And she's like, wait, you didn't buy it? I told you that day to buy it. And I go, I don't know. I probably bought some wild meme coin or something at that day. But I just to kind of wrap it up on my end, these pudgies at right around, 13,000, we maybe shave off to get under 10,000. I mean, that's really live.
Yeah, and just to give a counter to my own prediction, meaning Bitcoin's a better buy than Pudgy. That actually could be false because my friend bought a Pudgy for $12,000 in 2023. I would like to say, And then around that same time, you guys know I've been talking about dollar cost averaging Bitcoin. So I came up on Bitcoin, obviously, like 100% at least. But with his Pudgy, he sold it at, I think, 18 Ethereum. So you got it for 4 Ethereum when Ethereum was around 3,000. So that's $12,000. And he sold it for like 16 or 18 Ethereum. I think I would like to say 16 Ethereum at like around the same price, like 2,800, 3,000. So he came up better than me in terms of my Bitcoin strategy, dollar cost averaging compared to Pudgy Penguins. Of course, there was a catalyst there. He got in before. He actually did not receive the Pengu airdrop. Had he received the Pengu airdrop, he would have like close to like 8x his money. And also wait because his Pengu, he sold at 16. It got up to 30. Like, who would have known, right? Like I told him to sell it. He probably hates me right now. If you're watching this, Eric, my fault, bro. You could have sold your Pudgy at 30 and also sold, your freaking tokens at whatever, so he could have came up like 100 G's off of a 12,000. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that these things happen a lot. These yield farming mechanisms in DeFi also translates into the world of NFTs. And yeah, we'll maybe we both have pudgies on next week's call.
I'll tell you what, if Prompt cooks and they come out within the next week or two, I've been like secret. I mean, I have a lot of Prime staked. Now, if it cooks and I come away with a decent, like their FDV comes out, I'll splurge. I mean, I'd like to buy some Bitcoin, but I'll splurge on a Pudgy for sure. I'm very interested in it before this abstract airdrop. And then we talked about this on previous shows. If we just don't get the funds together, I'm not going to force anything. I've never forced myself into anything. If I don't, I'll probably be eyeing these pretty heavily after that abstract airdrop. If we're still in negative market conditions, they could get wrecked at least a day or two after.
Yeah, and shout out to Abstract, counter to all the mercenary money going into blockchains and just farming DeFi for no reason. Abstract's actually doing some cool stuff, like consumer focused stuff. Dan, but unfortunately, Web3 doesn't like that. Trench warriors don't like that. DeFi, degens don't like that. They just want to get rich quick. But I do love Abstract. I think they're going to be around for a while because they're actually doing stuff that people want to do. So they're just probably not going to 10x immediately. But they will probably grow steadily.
Yeah, I think if anybody I'm onboarding anybody into something outside of like into a new platform or a new protocol, we talk about with our community all the time. It feels very natural that Abstract is one where you go to their homepage. It has a very easy to feel way to go about. Like you need an email to log in. You still have crypto wallets, but it's very consumer friendly. But Joe, that's all I got for today. We were rolling. Exciting stuff out there. Hopefully the tariff news lightens up. Hopefully we get to $100,000 Bitcoin. Hopefully Joe and I buy pudgy penguins and maybe even a pair of crypto punks very soon for everyone. Until next week, we appreciate you joining us.
Later, guys.